Okay, we're up to page number 4 now. Okay, page number 4 is going to be dealing with the last two psukim in Kriyat Shema, which is right over here. Pasuk Chet and Pasuk Tet, Ukshatam li'at ayadecha v'yilutat tafa beinenecha, which is the mitzvah tefillin, Uktaftam al mezuzah beitecha v'sharecha, the mitzvah of mezuzah. So let's see what we learned here regarding tefillin and mezuzah. So the first thing we made mention over here is that the word tefillin never appears in the Torah. The psukim of the Torah is the word tefillin actually appears in Unkelos. Unkelos tells me tefillin beninach. He takes the word totafot. He says the tefillin. So it's just very interesting. When we make the bracha, we prefer to use the Aramaic word tefillin than the word that appears in the pasuk. The pasuk says doesn't have the word tefillin at all. It doesn't exist in the pasuk. The pasuk says but we refer. But it's interesting that they chose to when they made the bracha, composed the bracha, that they chose the Aramaic word used by Unkelos rather than the Hebrew text in the Torah. And another bracha like that is lulav. Lulav doesn't appear in Torah. Lulav is called kapot tmarim, which is a part of the palm tree. But yet we use the Aramaic term lulav. Okay, so Ukshatam Ozayadecha is tefillin shebizra, the tefillin on the hands. So the English said it should be an ornament between your eyes. Rashi says Elu tefillin shebarosh. These are the tefillin on the head. Shval shem minyan parshiyoteihem nikru totafot. And it's called totafot because of the number of parshiot in the tefillin, which is 4. So Rashi explains, tat b'katve shtayim, in the language katve, the word tat means 2. Pat ba'afrike shtayim, and in some sort of African language, pat is 2. So totafot is a compound word of tot and fot, which comes out to 4, which is really very, very interesting. What are the 4 parshiot in the tefillin? So we learned that here, let's take a look. So you go in our Tanach, we'll go to out of Deuteronomy, which is Dvarim, and we'll go to Sefer Shemot, and we'll go to chapter 13. So in chapter 13, Sefer Shemot, we have the parsha which is called Kadesh Liko B'char, which has to do that every firstborn is holy, the idea of Pijana Ben. The Torah in these first 9 psukim, actually 10 psukim, describe the idea that the Bechor is holy because of Yetziat Mitzrayim, and that's something we should have to remember, and that we should remember it by wearing tefillin. So if you look in Pasuk Tet, it shall be to you as a sign upon your hands, as remembers it in your eyes. So the first parsha in the tefillin is this parsha, which starts in Shemot Perik Yud Gimel Pasuk Aleph through Pasuk Yud. That is called the Kadesh Liko B'char. Then we have the next parsha, which is the very next psukim, because the Torah then continues, when God brings us to the land of Israel, etc., etc. And we're going to remember Yetziat Mitzrayim, and Pasuk 16, so we see that this parsha, again, which goes from Shemot Perik Gimel Pasuk Yud Aleph, Shemot Perik Gimel Pasuk Tet Zayin. So this is the second parsha in the Tefillin. The third parsha in Tefillin is Shema. So if we go to Shema, we have our, again, it's chapter 6. These 6 psukim we should put them on our arms and between our eyes every day. So this is the third parsha. The fourth parsha comes in Deuteronomy Devarim, Parak Yud Aleph. Again, we say it every single morning, starting with Hayat Shema and Pasuk Yigimel. Hayat Shema Tishma Mitzvotah. If we listen to the commands, and we have the idea of schar of reward and punishment, and the parsha ends. So the 4 places in the Torah where the Torah goes ahead and tells me that I have to put these particular psukim, uh, in the Torah. So those are the four parshiyot of the tefillin. I'm going to write them out again. I wrote them on the board in school today. I'll write them out here. Hope you'll be able to see it easily. The first one is Kadesh, the Kol B'chor, which is in Shemot, Perek Yigimel, Kim Aleph through Yud. The next is V'haya Yuviacha in the Shemot, Perek Yigimel, Kim Yud Aleph till Zion. That got mixed up over here. We got it here. What's it got? Okay. Okay. The third is Shema, which is Devarim, Vav, Yindalid, Tat. The third one on here. One. Really, Gimel doesn't confuse anybody here. And the fourth one is that one here. And the fourth parsha is up and Dalit. Is Vayat and Shemoah, which is the Barim, Perek Yud Aleph. It can be Gimel. Okay, what is the difference between Tefillin Shel Rashi and Tefillin Shel Rabbeinu Tam? To explain, according to Rashi, this is the order of the parshiyot: Kadesh, Vayakiv Yacha, Shema, Vayam Shemoah, because this is the order that appears in the Torah. Shema Perek Yigimel, Pasuk Aleph, Shema Yigimel, Pasuk Yud Aleph, Devarim Perek Vav, Devarim Perek Yud Aleph. Rabbeinu Tam says that it goes Kadesh, Vayakiv Yacha, then Vayam Shemoah, and then Shema. And his reasons aren't important now, but it is just important to understand the difference between Tefillin Shel Rashi and Tefillin Shel Rabbeinu Tam. The Ibn Ezra makes a remark, well, that there's no other place except regarding tefillin where this word totafot is used. And that's important because very often the way to understand the word in the Torah is look, hey, where else in Tanach is this word used? We got a Gemara in Sukkah. Rabbi Zera goes out, oh, our Sukkah should be like the Sukkah mentioned in Sefer Yeshayahu. But even as it says, when it comes to Totafot, we can't use that strategy because it doesn't appear anyplace else. Then we started talking about mezuzah, which is the last pasuk, Uchtaftam al mezuzot betecha v'sharecha. What we didn't yet talk about was this idea of the inun, that the halacha is Uchtaftam al mezuzot betecha v'sharecha. You should write the mezuzah, and you should be koveya. You should put it in a permanent way on your doorpost. And that's why when we go ahead and we say the bracha on a fixing of the mezuzah, the bracha is Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likvoa mezuzah. Likvoa mezuzah means to fix it permanently. That's why I have to put it in, either nail it in, or a strong tape or Velcro, etc., etc. So then question number 2. What practice does the Rambam approve of? So we said the Rambam approves of the practice of writing the Shin Daled Yud on the outside of the mezuzah. It says Menhag Pashot Shekotzvin al mezuzah b'chutz keneged harevach sheparsha leparsha Shin Daled Yud. We explained that Shin Daled Yud is an acronym for Shomer Datot Yisrael. So you see the space. You have the space between the Parsha Shema and Vayan Shema. Those are the two parshiyot in the mezuzah. On the outside, the flip side on the outside is where you have Shin Daled Yud. We explained that Shin Daled Yud is Rashi Tevot. Is Shin Daled Yud, which is the Rashi Tevot or Shmer Dilatot Yisrael, the God guards our doorways. Okay. The rest of this we're going to do in class on Sunday. And so I'm just going to go through it, and I'm assuming we're going to get to it on Sunday. If you look also at the flip side of the mezuzah, you see upside down, there are some letters that are written. Okay, if you would be able to take the picture and turn it the other way, you will see that these letters are kuzu b'muchsas kuzu, which essentially just letters. But yet, we have in every single mezuzah, we write those letters on the outside of the mezuzah. It doesn't mean anything, but where does it come from? So the kuzu b'muchsas says, "Ken kotvin keneged Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad Shema v'chaleit mehem be'al bechu kuzu b'muchsas kuzu," which means as follows: that if I take the words Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and I take the letters in the alphabet after that, I have as follows. So I have the first letter is Yud, the letter after that is Chaf. The next letter in Hashem is a Hey. The letter after that in the alphabet is a Vav. And then you have again a Vav. The letter after that is a Zayin. And again you have Hey. The letter after that is a Vav, which spells out the word Kuzu. Now, it doesn't mean anything, but it's very, very interesting. In class, we might give a couple of possibilities why we have this practice, but we take on the opposite end, where it says Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, on the inside of the mezuzah, on the outside, we write the next letters of the alphabet, which comes out to Kuzu, V'muchsas Kuzu. And that's really a fascinating minhag. And again, in class, we might explain exactly why. The next thing is that the Gemara tells us that if you make the mezuzah kamin nagar, nagar we know is a carpenter, something they used to make in the door, sula, and it's pasul. You make it like a nagar. Rashi says this means it can't be placed horizontally, but it has to be placed vertically. Tosa says it can't be placed vertically, it should be horizontal. What do? So we do something fascinating. We put it at an angle because in that way, we go ahead and we satisfy all the requirements. Because Rashi says it can't be placed horizontal. It also says it can be placed vertical. So we found the pshara, we found a way that everybody can be happy. And that's why it says that here, in the bold, people that are careful about mitzvot, yotzin yudei shneim, we satisfied all the opinions. We go ahead and we put it on an angle because in that way we satisfy both the opinion of Rashi and the opinion of Tosfos. How wonderful. Okay, Batzlacha, everybody.